Hey there, folks. It's been like a year and a half since I've done one of these, but welcome to another quick queries video brought to you by accesslearningzone.com. I am your instructor, Richard Rost, and for those of you who haven't seen these, because it has been a while, the quick queries are basically where I can put a whole bunch of questions into one video, whereas maybe each of these questions doesn't merit its own video. But, I'll put them all together and we'll do a quick queries about it. And this may or may not contain actual queries about queries. I don't mean queries in the access sense. I mean queries in the question sense. Okay? Get it? All right? Okay, let's get started. All right, to start us off, Cody says he's got a simple question about VBA coding. He followed all the steps, blah, 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 but his SQL statement isn't working. Can you figure it out? Take a quick look at it and see if you could tell what's wrong with this SQL statement. I'm going to put a small pause in here after each question to give you a chance, pause it if you have to see if you could figure out what the problem is. Okay, folks, this is why I tell you never to put spaces in your field names or your table names. See right there? Consumer info is his field name. He's got a space in there. So if you do that, you got to remember to put the consumer info inside of square brackets. Otherwise, Access doesn't know what you're talking about. So that's the problem. So I would go back and get rid of that space in there, and it'll make your life a whole lot easier. See, there are often things and little tips and clues that I give in my Access Beginner 1 class and 2 and so on. And at the time, you might not say, oh, what's the deal? Why can't I put first name, first space, name? Well, that's why when you start getting into more advanced stuff like VBA programming and query design and SQL, I'm giving you my benefit of 30 years of doing this. So trust me, no spaces. You'll thank me later. Okay, next up, Jim is adding records in his table, and he's got 84 records right now. And when he adds another one, he's expecting the primary key, the auto number, the ID to automatically increment to 85, but that's not happening. Why? Well, folks, if you're using an auto number, that number's not for you. You shouldn't worry about it. Don't use that as any kind of number that you care what the value is. Okay? All right? Auto numbers are not for you. They're for the database. They're for access to internally create relationships, make sure you have unique records, and so on. So don't use it for any number where you care what that value actually is, or if you want to be able to change it. If you need sequential numbering, I know the need comes up from time to time. You want invoice numbers without gaps in them, for example, then go watch this video. I'll put links to all the videos that I recommend down below in the description so you can click on them and go watch them and learn some stuff. Next up, Paul wants to know which mic setup I actually went for. If you're new to my channel, I've been doing some different mic tests to get the best sound possible. And so I had you guys vote on which microphones you guys thought sounded best, and I had some different stand mics and boom mics and all kinds of stuff. So I finally went with the toner mic, this guy, and the boomstick. Not this boomstick. This baby is made in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Retails for about $199.95. And if you don't know what movie that is, go look for Army of Darkness, one of my favorite movies of all time. And I've got a little desktop boom stand that goes with it, so it works really well. I can swing the mic back and forth, and when I'm not recording, I can just slide it away, and it works very nice. But thanks for asking, Paul, and thanks for everyone who gave your input on the different videos that I posted as far as what sounds good and what doesn't. All right, next up, Melania asks, I need your help here. My ACCDB is created with 32-bit version of Access. How to open this to 64-bit version? Well, normally, if you're using an ACCDB file, normally those will open just fine. The code might not run. We'll talk about that in a second. If you're using an ACCDE file, encrypted, right? I can't draw with this thing. I gotta use the pencil. Hold on. I'm new to this. Okay, there we go. The ACCDE file. That's when you make a version that you compile and you give to someone else so they can't get into your code and your forms and stuff. Those have to be specific to whatever version of Access the machine has on it. And that's one of the reasons why I stopped putting 32-bit versions of those on my website, because I've upgraded and I don't even have 32-bit running on any of my machines anymore. I've got a video here to show you how to import objects if you've never done that before. You can usually just click and drag them, or you can go and do the get external data and pull them all in at once. Now your code's a little bit different. if you open up your database and it's trying to run and you're getting compile errors and code errors, right? You're seeing stuff like this. Well, that could be because you have to add a little bit to your code. This video talks about it in more detail. All right, you have to change some things to pointer safe, that keyword there, and some things you might have to change to long pointers. But like I said, this video will go over that in a lot more detail, so check that out too. Next up, Wesley. First comment, really? Seriously? People still do this? I know it was popular back in forums in like 2004. No, I'm not picking on you, Wesley. You know, you'll be surprised. I see this a lot still today in 2023. People still do this first comment thing. I think it's time to retire this, guys, okay? Come on. Next up is Steven, or is it Stefan or Steven? I'm not sure about that one. But he's saying he's got an order table and a client table and a report. The report is an order number, the quantity from the order table, and the client from the client table. When I print the report, it prints the client number and not the name of the client. So what do you do? Anybody? That's just a matter of joining them together in a query first. Okay? Watch my invoicing video and also my relationships videos. All right, what you want to do is create a relationship. If this is your client right here and this is your invoice information, let's say you want to link those together in a query, then you can bring together the order information along with whatever details you want to see from the customer table as well. Okay? So go watch relationships, then go watch invoicing. I do this exact same thing in this video. We build an invoice based on customer data and order data. Next up, Moise. Is it Moise? Moise? How do you pronounce that? You guys got to let me know. Thanks for coming up with this. So far, it's my association database. And as of the time he wrote this comment, there were 4 parts available. He says, out of curiosity, how many parts will there be in total? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Right now, I think I'm up to 8. And I'm going to keep doing it until either I get out of ideas or people stop watching. And then I'll be sad. I can see right now that every one is getting less views than the previous one, so people are falling off. So when the number gets down to where it's not getting as many hits as I want it to have, then I'll stop doing it. For those of you who don't know what this is, I'm going to start doing releases of databases that we're going to build together. And you're going to watch me from the beginning, from scratch, build a database for a particular type of business or a particular type of need or whatever. The association database is like a membership database, and you can use it for anything that involves people and membership types. And it could be your golf club, it could be your HOA, it could be your church. That's a popular request, right? You want to track donations, tithes, that kind of stuff. And so I just call it association because that's the most generic term that I could think of to fit all of these different types. So how many will there be? I don't know. I'm up to 8, probably at least 10. I got a couple more things I want to do. So, and I'm looking forward to your feedback to see what you want to see in the future videos. So keep watching and I'll keep making them. And speaking of the association database, Steven says, another great video. Can't wait for the next video, number 5. Well, Steve, parts 5 through 8 are available right now on my website for the members. Hint, hint. Whenever I finish a video, I put it on my website immediately that day, and members get access to all of those. They're all queued up. For YouTube and for my website for the public, I have them come out 1 per day. So right now, I finished like 4 of them at once, and they're all on the website. So if you're a member, you can watch them all now. Silver membership is only $5.99 a month. A month, people. Come on. Well worth the price of admission. This is one from the forums on my website. If you're a member, you get to post on my website too. And I check the YouTube comments maybe once a week, and I don't usually spend a ton of time answering those. But if you want to get your question answered and you're a member, come to my website and post it there, because not only do I try my best to answer those more often, but I got a great group of 6 moderators, and they're fantastic. And they usually get the stuff way before I do. And even non-members, there's a visitor forum on my website too. I'll put a link to that down below. So if you're not a member, which you should be, you can still post. All right, so Richard on my website asks, does Can Grow and Shrink work with forums? Not forums, forms. I can use it with reports, but I'm having trouble with it on forums. I have it set the form detail to yes on Can Grow and Can Shrink. Because remember, you got to set the text box itself and the detail section, or whatever section it happens to be in, also has a can grow, can shrink property. But for some reason, it's not working on his forms. It'll work on the reports, but not the forms. Why is that? Anybody? Okay, can grow and shrink only work when you print a form, which we never do. We print reports. All right, so basically you would only use can grow and can shrink in a report. Yeah, you can print forms. There's a form header footer and a page header footer. And if you go into design view, right, that page header footer is when you print a form. Some people are lazy. I get it. You don't want to take the time to make a separate report. You can print the form if you want something quick for yourself. Okay, fine. But in a finished production database, I never rely on that. I don't let my users print forms. And there's some other reasons why too. But basically, it'll work in a report, but it won't work in a form on the screen. It'll work in a form when you print it, but it won't work in a form on the screen, which is what forms are designed for. If you want to learn more about can grow and can shrink, here's a video for you. I'll put a link down below, like I said before. And that's going to do it for today, folks. So if you've got a question and you want it answered, go ahead and post it in the comments down below. Best to post it on my website, but I do check the YouTube comments, as you've seen. Be sure to check out my website, and if you haven't taken my Access Beginner 1 class, do it now. Even if you've been using Access for a while, I cover a lot of stuff in Access Beginner 1 that I want people to know before they start working with Access, like things like don't put spaces in your field names, that kind of stuff. It's simple beginner's tips, but it'll make your life so much easier in the long run. I've been doing this for a little while now, folks, so take it from me. Okay. Hope you learned something, and yeah, I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and post any comments you may have. I do try to read and answer all of them as soon as I can. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, which is completely free, and click on the bell icon to select all to receive notifications when new videos are posted. Make sure you click the Show More link down below the video to find additional resources and links. You'll see a list of other videos, additional information related to the current topic, free lessons, and lots more. YouTube no longer sends out email notifications when new videos are posted, so if you'd like to get an email every time I post a video, click on the link to join my mailing list. Even if you don't want to become a member, feel free to donate to my tip jar. Your patronage is greatly appreciated and will help keep these free videos coming. I got puppies to feed. How do you become a member? Click on the Join button below the video. After you click the Join button, you'll see a list of all the different membership levels that are available, each with its own special perks. Silver members and up will get access to all of my extended cut TechHelp videos, one free beginner class each month, and more. Gold members get access to download all of the sample databases that I build in my TechHelp videos, plus my code vault, where I keep tons of different functions that I use. You'll also get a higher priority if you decide to submit any TechHelp questions to me, and you'll get one free expert class each month after you've finished the beginner series. Platinum members get all the previous perks, plus even higher priority for TechHelp questions, access to all of my full beginner courses for every subject, and one free developer class each month after you finish the expert classes. These are the full-length courses found on my website, not just for Access too. I also teach Word, Excel, Visual Basic, and lots more. You can now become a Diamond sponsor and have your name or company name listed on a sponsors page that will be shown in each video as long as you're a sponsor. You'll get a shout out in the video and a link to your website or product in the text below the video and on my website. But don't worry, these free TechHelp videos are going to keep coming. As long as you keep watching them, I'll keep making more, and they'll always be free. Now, if you have not yet tried my free Access Level 1 course, check it out now. It covers all the basics of Microsoft Access. It's over 4 hours long, and I just updated it for 2021. You can find it on my website or on my YouTube channel. I'll include a link below that you can click on. And also, if you like Level 1, Level 2 is just $1. Yep, that's all, $1, and it's free for all members of my YouTube channel at any level, even supporters. Want to have your question answered in a video just like this one? Visit my TechHelp page on my website. You can send me your question there. While you're on my site, feel free to stop by the Access Forum. Lots of good conversations happening there. Be sure to follow my blog, find me on Twitter, and of course, YouTube. Once again, my name is Richard Rost. Thank you for watching this TechHelp video brought to you by AccessLearningZone.com. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something today. I'll see you again soon.